Welcome back to another trade video, and in this series, we break down the top 12 most recently traded players. Let's just jump right into it. First off, the most traded player is T. Higgins. Joe Burrow, he looked excellent, and he was moving around that pocket without a problem. It appears he is back. I mentioned in last week's video to buy low on Higgins, and now after this Week 8 game, Higgins, it also appears he's back from his injury. He saw 67% snaps and finished with 6 targets and brought in 5 receptions. But, it should be noted, at least over the last 2 weeks, Tyler Boyd, he is playing more snaps than Higgins, but it's always beneficial to have a good wide receiver, like in Boyd, to step up when another player is injured. Going back to Higgins, so obviously that price is going to be going up, as this offense, it's looking to get back to true form, and hopefully Higgins will return to previous snap share levels. Like the first 3 games, he was over 85% snaps. I still will try to buy Higgins, if you can. If you are enjoying the video, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Let's get back into the trades. The second most traded player is Calvin Ridley. Once you are out on Ridley, he's going to bring you back in. I mentioned this in previous videos. He's just similar to Amari Cooper. He's going to have those boom games, but he's going to have those bust games more often. He's heading into this bye week after just having that Week 8 boom game. 6 receptions for 83 yards. They brought you back in. I'm still looking to sell Ridley. That inconsistency week to week is just not what I desire. I would look to see if you can go find yourself a more stable, consistent asset. The third most traded player, Joe Mixon. After an underwhelming start to the season, Mixon, he had a tough matchup against the 49ers, and he put up a total of 110 scrimmage yards. I previously mentioned Mixon was a sell. Similar to Higgins up there, this entire offense, it just took a step back, with those injuries mentioned. But it just seems after they came back from that bye week, it served the Bengals well, and this offense looks to be back on track. Looking more into Mixon, he has 96% of the Bengals' rushing attempts in the red zone. A healthy Burrow, it's going to help Mixon out and this run game. I would like to buy Mixon now if you can. Moving on here, Devonta Smith. So in last week's video, I mentioned you should buy Smith before a potential boom game happens. And then that value will rise, kind of like that 2022 season is reminiscent with Smith. So looking here at Week 8, he put up 7 receptions for 99 yards and a touchdown. That boom game happened. Looking at A.J. Brown, now he does have 6 straight games over 125 yards. Insane. But looking at Smith, despite this underwhelming fantasy season, he still is averaging 7.1 targets per game. The volume is there. Hopefully this Week 8 was a step in the right direction as we move forward here with Smith. And if you were looking to find, that wide receiver help, maybe Smith could be your guy. Now, I think for a first in this series, the next most recent traded player is CJ Stroud. I think this is the first time having a quarterback in the top traded players. He has had a tremendous rookie season. He's only thrown 1 interception. And in addition, it's been noted Stroud is making these precise and accurate throws. Many are touting him to be a top 10 quarterback in the league already. Despite that, he's only quarterback 17 for fantasy purposes. He's averaging 16.5 points per game. That's tied with Baker Mayfield. So when we have to look at this decision, I would likely try to trade Stroud away if you can get a different position that can be utilized as a starter. I'm sure you can find similar production on the waiver wire at the quarterback position. Moving on here to the 6th most traded player, it is Javante Williams. Now, he has seen his snaps increase recently. When we look at Week 6, 35%. Now, Week 8, he saw 63%. Subsequently, you're going to see an increase in total touches too, which just Week 8, he had 30 total touches. Denver is on a bye week, and this maybe can provide an opportunity to buy Williams if another league mate is in need of a player to plug in for this week in a must-win matchup. It is absolutely great to see Williams ramping back up to a full workload, and it seems the team, Denver, is confident in that ACL recovery and Williams moving forward. Additionally, he has seen at least 3 receptions in back-to-back games. I like this bye week rest for this offense. And moving forward, you should look to continue to thrive with this type of workload for Williams, so go get him on your team. Now, here we are again, 7th most traded player, another quarterback, Jared Goff. And, I know these injuries are going on, But similarly with Stroud, you may want to trade away Goff here. Goff, he's only averaging 1.4 more points than Stroud, despite being quarterback 9 compared to that quarterback 17. Similar reasoning here. If you can acquire a startable asset at another position and then just pick up a quarterback off waivers, that would benefit your team. And it's a savvy transactions to utilize here as the playoffs loom. Obviously, if you want to trade him away, maybe pick up a quarterback before this trade happens. And here, let's move on here to running back in Najee Harris. Oh boy, here. If you've been watching this series, I've noted Harris to be a sell multiple times. Fortunately, in week 8, he was able to have 5 receptions, which will help out tremendously in PPR leagues. However, he had only 7 carries for 13 yards. Now, it should be noted, the Jaguars, they're solid defense, and even Jalen Warren could not manage much. But back to Harris, he's RB32, and he's only averaging 8.5 points per game. Everyone in your league has to know about Harris. I don't know if he is a buy or a sell. If you have him, you may just have him. But if you notice a team in your league that has injuries at the running back position, maybe you could package Najee and then upgrade to another, better player. So do that. Now, moving on here, for the most traded players, we're looking at Puka Nacua. Now, through 8 games, he has 795 yards and 61 receptions as a rookie. Now, he's coming off a down game. He only had 3 receptions and 43 yards. A positive note now here is Puka. He has seen no less than 7 targets per game. He is pacing out to have a historic rookie season where no rookie wide receiver has had a higher target share. And only Odell Beckham would have a higher yards per team pass attempts. So shout out to Ian for those stats. Tremendous rookie season here for Puka. Now, there may be a small buy window following this down game, but everybody knows what he is doing. But also an important factor is he's been noted to have some swelling in his knee and will take limited reps here. Maybe this is something you could try to capitalize on. The Rams, now they do have a bye week after this week, bye week in week 10. So there could be some wiggle room here to acquire Puka, especially if those people need some players right now to win some matchups as we approach the fantasy playoffs. Next wide receiver up here, Davante Adams. He survived the trade deadline, and the Raiders, they fired the GM, the head coach, and offensive coordinator. They just named Aiden O'Connell as the starter moving forward. There may be a light at the end of the tunnel here for Adams. His first 4 games were great, but these last 4 games were not. When we look at week 8, Jimmy G, he did just miss Adams on a couple big plays. I think a 68 to 90-yard potential touchdown pass. He just has not looked great. So Raiders, they're going to switch over to O'Connell. Now, it is a bummer he remains on the Raiders following the trade deadline, but I still want to kind of buy low on Adams here. He's a top wide receiver, and I want to believe some of those missed opportunities will come full circle here to fantasy production with this new coaching staff, new offense, new quarterback moving forward. Moving on here to the 11th most traded player, we have a running back in James Cook. So the addition of Leonard Fournette may scare people away, and now this is the opportunity to buy Cook. Fournette, if we look at him, he's obviously more talented than Latavius Murray, and that's obvious. Fournette, he is more talented in the pass game than Murray too. There is no doubt this addition will make the backfield a little worrisome, but I still lean Cook will kind of retain his similar workload. Fournette, he's going to take over the goal line work that Cook already did not have. So if you are risk averse, you may not want to try and get Cook, but this is an opportunity to buy low on the potential within Cook. Looking at Cook, he's 6th in rushing yards over expected, 5th in efficiency, and he's 1st in explosive run rate with at least 100 attempts. All of this data is according to FTN. Buy the talent luckily at a lowered cost. Now, the 12th most traded player here is Josh Jacobs, another Raider, another new coaching, new system here moving forward. He has seen at least 15 carries in 75% of games and at least 4 targets in 88% of games. However, he does not have a 100-yard rushing game and only has 1 game over 100 scrimmage yards. The usage is there, and I was shocked to see Jacobs at RB9. I just feel there is not much being talked about in regards to Jacobs. He's kind of like the silent assassin, and I would look to get him on your team. The Raiders, they're going to have this new identity to end the season, and that may include just forcing the ball to Jacobs. Thank you for watching today's video where we broke down the top 12 most recently traded players, and catch us next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more fantasy content.